Hello, Diana.
Well, hi there.
How are you?
I'm doing fine.
I can hear you, I can't see you.
Let me see what.
And here comes Gretel.
Hello.
How are you?
Oh, stressed out.
I finally see my hair.
Yeah, turn the camera on.
Hello, Gretel.
Since lockdown, every 2 weeks I've been doing craft packs for the local kids.
Okay.
And tonight is one of those nights when I've got 200 craft packs to do up.
Oh my goodness. You don't take on small tasks, do you? And there's Ruth. Yay.
I didn't think it would be that big.
I was probably finished up 20 masks and I had them out on the porch for a friend to pick them up because he's having a bit of a problem with his hands. And so I thought 20 was good for me. 200 is.
I have a lot of little elves. I get to work to do various bits of preparation. Then you have to bring it all together.
Okay. Okay, so you know how to delegate effectively.
It has to be, otherwise I'm working full time as well. I couldn't manage it.
Oh, wow. You know, they always say if you want something to be done, you must ask a busy person to do it.
Yeah.
Ruth, where'd you go? Oh, you're back. Hello. Hello, Ruth. It's nice to see you again. Your sound's not working tonight again, it looks like. Yay. And we'll just give it a couple more minutes to see who else arrives. There were a couple more ladies who said they'd join us. So I'll just put in some filler in the meantime. How are you ladies doing? There's Bev. Yay. Are you guys all well?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Nobody's sick yet.
Hope not.
Okay. Okay. I've got a sick Pete in the house next door. So and we're not sure what it is yet, but he's got some of the symptoms. So we've separated ourselves, which I'm not enjoying a lot. So it has made it possible for me to schedule this late night Zoom though, so because normally this is peak time. So you guys are benefiting from that. Hello, Bev. It's nice to see you. Yay. Okay, so this evening we're chatting about mending as meditation. And for anybody watching, if you enjoy this chat tonight on Zoom, and if you want to learn more about mending as a meditation, I do have an online course that helps you to kind of go through a meditation process as you do your mending. And I will share the link to the course when I share the video with everybody. So if you want to get into mending as a meditation in more depth, I do have an online course that will support the process. Have any of you ladies used mending as a meditation?
He's weeding.
Reading, okay.
Weeding in the garden.
Weaving, okay. And Ruth?
I'm mending a pair of pants for my husband, his winter snow pants.
Okay.
He put a big gash across the knee.
And I always say that mending brings us closer to our loved ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's also a meditation of sorts, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so I find particularly hand mending by hand, takes me to a meditative place. I don't quite reach that state of peace and bliss when I'm working with the machine, because normally me and the machine are fighting with each other. I don't talk machine very well. And so normally if I want to get to kind of a meditative space, then I would hand stitch rather than machine stitch, because I just get very frustrated with the machine. And I prefer to default to that meditative state. I like it a lot. I find it gives me a chance to think about things and think about my day and work through my feelings, and sometimes just zone out, especially when I can sew and listen to something else or watch something else or listen to a podcast. Then it kind of gives me a space where I just completely switch off and go into a meditative space. I'm not one of those people who can sit and meditate, you know, and just think of nothing. I've got too busy a head. It doesn't switch off. So I find that I actually have to take my head somewhere else and do something else. And also what happened was in the 1990s, when I used to mass produce tie and dyed garments, I used to mass produce up to 100 garments a week. And I had a process where on the first day I would go to this of the week, I would go to the suppliers and buy what I needed. Then the second day I would wash and do all the binding, but the binding was a very repetitive process. And I could bind for even 2 days on end, where I would just be tying the stuff up. There'd be no color work or anything like that, and just this very repetitive folding and manipulating of the fabric. And anybody who makes tie-dye will learn that there's only so many ways you can manipulate the fabric, really, you know, and then because fabric is fabric, you know, so you can make spirals and you can make checks and you can, but essentially it eventually becomes a repetition of things that you've done before. And because I was doing it year on year, I would, on those days when I was binding the fabrics, I would find myself in this meditative state because of that repetitive handwork. And I don't know if it's because of the conditioning from that decade of my life, but for me to reach a meditative state now, I get there far quicker if I pick up handwork than if I actually just sit still and now try to clear my mind. It doesn't work for me.
The rhythm of it, the rhythm of what you're doing with your hands,
Yes.
leads you into that space.
Yes, absolutely. And I
It's
think,
very soothing and calming.
yes, and I think that's why the borrow stitching particularly gets me there. You know, that needle in and out and in and out and in and out, and then very quickly I'm in that place. Look, Ruth's doing it right now.
Well, busy hands. What do they call it? Oh, anyway, the devil can't get you when your hands are busy. Something
Yes.
like that. I can't remember the words, but
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The devil makes work for idle hands.
thank you.
That's the one. So, Diana, what are you mending at the moment? Or have you got any mending on the table?
I really need to discard some of my work shorts, and I really need to sew work shorts. But I do have a quilt that I wanted to put borrow stitching on because I thought it reminded me of insects.
Ah.
Groups of insects coming across. I'll show you the blanket. I have it over here.
Yay. Okay, and while she's getting her blanket, Gretel, are you busy with some mending?
I'm not mending at the moment. I've just finished mending a friend's cardigan for her.
Okay.
But I am just sewing my little hexagons.
Oh, look at
My
that.
big hexagons.
That's beautiful. That's
Nice.
lovely.
Yay!
Oh, and those hexagons must be meditative, Gretel.
Oh, they are. It's going.
wow.
Oh, you see, that's definitely a meditation of sorts.
They're
Absolutely.
my big hexagons. They have 1-inch sides.
Yes.
The little ones have 1/4-inch sides.
You are the hexagon hardcore lady, definitely. Way more patience than me. Diana, that quilt is lovely. Did you make that?
Yes, it did. It's based on a picture of a friend of mine who goes down to the Salt River and photographs the wild horses there.
Okay.
I love the mother and the baby. So it's a series that I'm doing. It's called Hide and Survive. And the fabrics are scraps from Ricky Timms, who's one of the major quilt educators.
Yes.
So it's the competition in September. So I'm doing a lot of the handwork. I have to use only his fabrics.
Okay.
And he limited the number of the kinds of embellishments we could use. So I'm limited to thread. So I
Okay.
crocheted some thread. I did some yo-yos around little circles.
Okay.
And so right now I'm just playing with the stitches. But I just wrote a note to myself to go and look up some burrow stitch patterns, because
Okay.
I wanted to do those as the insects
Yes.
across
Yes.
the quilt.
Yes. Yes. That'll be lovely. I can already see insects on that quilt. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. So Gretel, how far are you with that quilt? Your hexagon quilt?
I don't know. I haven't decided who it's for yet, so I don't know how big it has to be.
Okay. Okay.
It will tell me in due course.
Okay. So you're also one of those people who allows the work to tell you who it's going to belong to and what it's going to be, like
Sometimes,
through the
sometimes I
process.
know. Sometimes I know precisely who it's for.
Okay.
You're being done as a request or something.
Okay. And you mentioned you mended a cardigan. How did you mend it? Did you patch it or did you sew it?
I darned it with your traditional darning,
Okay.
with wool weaving in and out.
Okay. And is it invisible darning so you can't see it?
It's as near invisible as I can get it, because
Wow.
it's a black cardigan with little sequins all over it.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So it needed to be
Impressive.
invisible.
Okay. That's impressive. I normally do my darning with a contrasting thread so I can see what the hell I'm doing. And Ruth, what are you mending?
These are my husband's, they're called Carhartts, that's the brand name, but they're, it's an insulated overall type thing, has the little Farmer John bib connectors at the top. And when we put the hay out for the sheep, we have to get all gussied up when it's cold and layered. And so this is his thing, and he actually asked me to mend it.
Lovely.
I had been looking at it thinking I can't wash it because I haven't, it's gonna fall further apart. So this one, and now I'm mending it, and then I can wash it, and it'll be good for this winter.
Okay, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And Bev, what are you mending at the moment?
How's it?
Hello.
I mended my husband's pants with patchwork,
Okay.
using the braided stitch, and it worked out quite nicely.
Okay.
Right now I'm in the bush.
Which part of the bush?
I'm actually on my first trip here in the Kruger National Park.
Oh, fantastic.
One of the 7-star resorts, which has
enjoying
been
it?
amazing. I'm loving it. We went on a game drive today and we saw the leopards in the tree, and it was on a kill, and yeah, it's amazing here, really amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And is your husband happy with his new mended trousers?
Yes, very happy.
Oh, fantastic. And Catherine Collins has joined us. Now, while Catherine's getting her camera and stuff going, I should just lean over here. I should have brought this closer sooner. So this is my mending that has become a love letter to and from Pete.
Oh, wow.
So in 1997, when I met him, I had a stand at the market where I was selling tie-dyed garments. Hello, Catherine. It's nice to see you.
Oh, it's nice to be here.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. And I'll get you now. And so I had done a bleached finish on this T-shirt, and I gave it to him as a gift. And we had a long distance relationship that kind of petered out because, you know, in the 90s we didn't have cell phones. And then in 2015 we were reunited. And when I moved back in with him, I saw that he was still wearing this T-shirt. And it was one of his favorite T-shirts, but it had begun to make holes. And I then decided that I wanted to make him a forever shirt, because this T-shirt had been a symbol of our love for 20 years by this stage. So I started to mend it with patches on the inside. and I would mend it and put it in the and he'd wear it and it would go in the wash and it would come back out again and it would have fallen apart some more and I would mend it. So now it's got a whole inside skin of patches, and the outer fabric really is just disintegrating. And I've just kept going, and in fact some of the inner patches we're kind of poking through in a funny way, so I've started to put patches on the outside too. And bless him, he still wears it. So
That's nice.
so this is both a meditation and a love letter that we pass back and forth between each other. And just to show you how, you know, something like that can become quite meaningful. And I know it's a little bit maybe over the top for some people. I know pretty conservative men might not wear it. But my dear Pete, who has a love for old things and who's quite sentimental and romantic, continues to wear it. So as you can see, it's just falling apart more and more. And I just keep putting patches, and it keeps going. And now he wears it a lot. He wears it often when I'm not stitching on it. When I give it back to him, then he has a turn with it. So, Catherine, what sort of mending are you doing? You got to unmute yourself.
I've been mending old quilts lately.
Okay.
I started quilting a quilt for my granddaughter, and that kind of got me into getting out the old quilts and working on them. We've got a meditation group, or not a meditation group, a mending group in Anchorage through the museum.
Okay.
And there's the gal that leads it is a really good dressmaker, and so that kind of got me interested in it. But yeah, I agree. Mending is meditation, and it's intimate, and it brings you in contact with the object that you're mending. I mend jeans, everything. So.
I find it makes me think kind of about where the resources have come from, where they're going. I think about things like, how many times can I mend this, you know? And is there, so this t-shirt with Pete's is kind of, because when I first started mending, I was like, so where do you draw the line? What's too much? What's too much work on a thing that it should then become a rag? You know, and this t-shirt of Pete has almost become a challenge to that thinking that there is ever an end. You know, theoretically, you can just keep patching a thing and keep patching it and carry on as long as the person doesn't mind the way it looks.
Like the Japanese art of mending.
Sorry?
It's like the Japanese art of mending, where they keep adding to fabrics, and it gives value to the piece, and it brings you in contact with the maker that made it originally. Yes. I do a lot of knitting, and so I mend a lot of knitted objects too.
Okay, that must be quite tricky.
Not if you're a good knitter.
Okay.
No,
and it's
just
very
a bit
relaxing.
off topic.
Sorry, Catherine?
I've knitted for a long time, and
okay.
It's relaxing for me, so it isn't too tricky.
Okay. Okay, sorry, Bev, you had a question for us?
No, just a little bit off topic here. In the bush where I'm staying, they have made placemats with chip packets.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, that's awesome.
So here's a kind of,
oh wow. Look at that. That's
every
amazing.
chip packet you can think of. And they've made bath mats and carpets here as well in the same form.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for showing us that. That's wonderful. Are so they're kind of woven?
Yes, they're woven.
Okay. Okay, that's amazing. What an amazing. I bet you were excited when you found those.
Yes, I'm like, oh, this is different.
It's wonderful. Once when I was traveling, I used to be a traveling craft teacher, and I used to climb in my car and do a 4,000-kilometer journey around the country in my car, and I'd stop at various places to teach. And the one year I was coming back, and I was very tired by the end of that journey, and I normally used to stay with students and customers. But by the end of this journey, I was really, really, really worn out. And I just wanted to find a place to stay where I could just be on my own and in my own space and quiet just for one night. Because normally when I stayed with a customer or with a student, I'd end up teaching late into the night. We'd end up talking shop until I went to bed. And I said to my little voice, my little gut voice, I said, I'm going to just randomly pick a bed and breakfast in Beaufort West and see what comes up. And I was like, there's going to be something for me there. And I went into my room and there was nothing for me there. I was like, what am I doing here? This is just like another bed and breakfast, very commercial space kind of thing. But I had a very peaceful night, which was wonderful. It was a great relief to me, and I had a good night's sleep. And then the following morning, when I went into the dining room, I realized that my heart wish had been answered. And the dining room's walls were papered with paper dress patterns. And then they'd also taken old Singer sewing machines and mounted them on the walls in between the patterns.
Wow.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was really, really beautiful. And also a lesson to me, you know, not to doubt that little voice inside that knows where to take you, you know. Sometimes if you can just tap into that inner voice, which is also, I suppose, a meditation of a sort. I definitely used to get to a meditative space also when I was driving long distances across a flat landscape. It is another place I meditate. Do you ladies meditate at all when you sew? Like with a machine?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, you do,
Kind of.
Bev. You do, Ruth. You
Yeah,
ladies,
kind of. It's it just
I have
comes.
to, otherwise the machine goes away.
Yeah.
I'm the
I do
opposite.
You-
well, yeah. And I've practiced Zen meditation for a while, and it seems like there's a lot of similarities.
Okay.
It's quiet space.
Yes.
So, Catherine, are you in Anchorage, Alaska?
Yes. Where
I'm
are
in-
other people from?
I'm in Wasilla.
Oh,
I was
South
wondering if
Africa.
there's anybody near me that does this kind of stuff, so now I know.
Ruth Simpson. Yeah, I live Jewel Lake and Diamond area.
Oh, wow. My sister-in-law lives on Caravelle. Sorry.
Oh, I know
Sorry,
where- yeah,
sorry,
we're
Melanie.
a few
No,
blocks
it's all
away.
good.
Maybe
all
we'll
good.
have to together.
Okay,
So we have two South Africans, two ladies from Alaska, and then Diana, where are you?
I'm in Arizona.
And Gretel?
UK.
Okay. So we've got a whole bunch of continents on here again. It's awesome. I always
Cool.
get goosebumps when I see that we've got such a diverse and global group. It's wonderful. So is there something that you find challenging when you're mending? Something that pulls you out of the meditation?
Difficult fabrics.
Yeah. Getting the right needle and the right thread and then finding where I put the thread.
Or where I
I
dropped
have
the
too
needle.
Yeah.
I lost the needle the other day, and until I found it, I knew I wasn't going to be happy. So I actually took time out, moved furniture, went back through my head in terms of where's the last time I saw it. It was an unthreaded needle and it rolled off on the floor.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My worst is last night I was flipping the needle in a strange way that I kept tying the thread in a knot halfway down the thread as I was working with it, and I did it 3 times in a row. I was like, what's going on here? And when I do that kind of thing, it always makes me think of Terry Pratchett. Do you know Terry Pratchett's theory of malignancy?
Oh.
So
I've got a lot of Terry Pratchett books.
It's a theory he developed that he said was very applicable to things like hose pipes and cables. But I think it also applies to thread, and that's its ability to just sometimes make a knot that creates an impossible thing, just like that. So there are definitely days for me when my thread is more malignant than others. And on those days, then I find it quite difficult to reach a meditative space because it keeps pulling me out of it, and I'm like, oh no, now I've got to fix this mess that I've made.
When I do it, every few stitches, I twirl the needle in my hand to undo all the winding I've done. And it depends on which way the thread has wound, but and sometimes I just hold the piece up and let the needle go, to get untangled.
Yes.
Alabama Channing calls it a loving your thread, where you go back to the piece that you're working on and you straighten up the thread all the way up to the needle, because you're taking some of the twist out.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
It's still every once in a while is malignant, and I will just cut it. I'll go, we're not working. One of us has to go. You're gone. Also, my mother had a spool of thread where she had dissembling clothes, because she grew up in the Depression. She had rewound the thread because she was in a place where she couldn't get supplies. My sister has that spool of thread from my mother's sewing kit. But it's a remarkable thing when you look at someone who was going to reuse at that level, and because she was so far away from a town, a commercial place where she could buy thread, she would save it from the clothing that she was taking apart.
That's amazing.
It's a reminder. It's like patching your T-shirt. It's a reminder that and when I throw thread like that, when I finally cut it and say you're out of here, I can hear my mother on, yeah, but you're losing good threads.
These are mine. These are mine, upcycled from, like, this was a sheet, so it's a really long one.
Yeah.
And I wind it around my fingers and I put it right up here. So it's conveniently available. But what I'm looking for this pair of outdoor outerwear is something stronger, like jeans thread. And I know I have some over in the other studio, so I'll go get that today and use it.
You ladies have just taken it to a whole other level for me.
On that, I find that if you use heavier fabrics, a tapestry needle can also work for the project that you are doing. If you just do the edges to, if you're combining, for an example, if you use it on the edges, it can work quite nicely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
still learning about
what I was
needles
looking
too.
for.
Yeah, or a chenille needle would do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That will also work.
So do you ladies think it might be worth doing a Zoom to talk about needles?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, because I hadn't thought about it. Because yes, Gretel.
Particularly, why does your favorite needle always hide?
Yeah, that's it.
I like the one that's got a bit of a bend in it.
Yeah. A lot of mine have been retired because of that.
Yeah.
I broke one the other day, and it was so remarkable because I don't break that many. I think I've maybe broken 5 or 6, and I held it on. I kept it on my stand for a while because I had both pieces. I found it so remarkable that I had broken one. But yeah, we do have favorite needles. One of my favorites is a doll needle or an upholstery needle.
Oh yeah.
That long.
Yeah, I have one of those.
Just when you need to go that distance and you need to use a needle action, it's remarkable to have the right tool.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
The right tools always make the job easier.
Yes. It does.
So maybe because I'm actually a very, very beginner sewer. I only started really sewing again. I did embroidery as a kid and as a teenager, but I only really started sewing again after I started this group. I started the group because I was printing fabric from a deceased estate, but I only started sewing again myself after I started this group about 5 years ago. So I'm still a real beginner with a lot of this stuff, and it hadn't occurred to me that we maybe need to do a Zoom meetup about needles. But if I do a Zoom meetup about needles, I'm going to need you ladies to come on and share your information, because I don't know the first thing about needles.
I'll be there.
Okay. Okay.
Me
Awesome.
too.
I'd like to
Awesome.
learn more about them.
You'd like to learn more about them.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay. So
There's
then,
definitely differences in them. I know that. And threads too.
okay.
There seems to be a lot of difference in the correct thread to use for a specific project. I noticed it with quilting,
Yes.
that cotton versus viscose versus polyester and
Okay.
Shishico threads.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah,
that's what we'll plan for some of our future Zooms. So Zoom has just told me that it's about to cut us off. So before it does, I would like to thank you ladies very much. Thank you so much for joining me again. It's very meaningful to see you.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure.
Wonderful.
Aloha.
And to my frequent flyers, Diana and Ruth, thank you so much. You guys, I always see you here, and I feel like even though you're on the other side of the world, that you're right here in my heart. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I've got that clock set for your time, so every time I think about something, I go, "Well, what time is it where she's at?" You know.
Oh, cool. And was this a good time slot for you, Ruth?
Yes. Perfect.
Okay.
11 o'clock a.m. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see Catherine nodding her head as well. Okay, then I'll try to schedule maybe next week for this. Normally this time slot here by me is Pete's time slot, but with him sick, and we were discussing it tonight, we're likely going to continue to isolate for at least another week. So I can schedule another late night one for next week. So thank you all for joining me. It was lovely seeing you.
Thank you, Mel. Have a good day.
Pleasure, babe. Enjoy
Bye.
the game reserve.
Bye.
Bye, Gretel. Bye, Catherine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Gretel.